Tubinji ebitambula na wali n'abava Kenya nayo kale mukulikeyo bwebityo webiri. Kenya is an interesting country, a country where the people show you that they actually have power over their leaders. The leaders submit and say, okay, if that's what you want, okay, you do what you want. If that was in one of our East African countries here, by now the fatalities would be unimaginable. Kale, we thank you for following everywhere. Last week somebody said, but you people talk about politics all the time, too much politics all the time. When do you talk about development issues? I said, yes, development starts with politics. I do not know where the difference is, but I have experts here. A very good friend and popular city intellectual, Dr. Lawrence Muganga, is here with us, the Vice Chancellor of the mighty Victoria University, the only university in the center of Kampala. I've even never understood why they are located in the center of the city. Does it not affect so much of what you do, that you are located in the center of the noise environment, in the center of Kampala? Was the location well thought about? Is it the only one you had? Is it by choice?
It is definitely not by accident. Good morning, viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Lawrence Muganga here. And my friend Simon is asking if Victoria University is accidentally situated in the city of the city. It's not by accident, it is by design, and it is well planned that we are where we are for a very good reason. Why? Everyone around this country believes that Kampala is the capital city of this country.
Also.
All right? And that is the only place where significant business is happening.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
And significant administration is happening. True. And every child around this country fancies at some point to come and also see their capital city. True. All right? So it is a collection of Ugandans of all walks of life. And if you want to reach out to all Ugandans of all corners of this country, then the better place to be in is Kampala. You will see a person from Busia, you'll see a person from Kabaale, you'll see a person, you'll see everyone.
The whole Uganda visits and lives.
Correct. Now, other than just beyond that very point I'm trying to emphasize, that where we are right now, you know, for so many years, education has tended to be something that is a little bit unreal, right? You try to like an institution to hide itself somewhere where there is no noise.
We are told that that's where it's convenient.
No people.
Yes.
And like you are in a hideout. But remember, your products, if I may use that language, the graduates will have to come back in real life where there is noise, there are so many people, they are interrupted, they have to agree, they have to disagree, they have to harmoniously work together. So we chose to be in the real world. That gives a student the real picture of what the world looks like. If you go around the world, Kampala is not a big city. If you go around the world, you just go to Tokyo, you will see what happens, what they call people and noise and congestion and everything. So give them some kind of a glimpse of what happens in the world and in the real world. And then, for those who are in the city, we are there for them specifically that do your job. But when you get an hour, 2, 3, rush, come and improve yourself. Walk. You don't have to even board a border. No, you don't even have to board a taxi. Just walk to us. Improve yourself. Be a better Ugandan. Serve your country, serve your community, and serve your family without actually stopping the work.
You know, you can hide at Victoria University and do your education without your employer knowing that you actually go to school. You get up like you're going for lunch.
Correct.
The university is
correct. And we're giving an employers a chance to really boost the training and development of their staff without actually losing a lot of output they would have expected from their staff.
Omwana nga tugeze bw'aba avudde Kamuli okujja ati isomero liriga ati kagati mukaba ati n'omwana bwe bamubanda motoka disaladayira muno dayira mule. So we fear for those risks, accidents, you know.
Tebalina kutya omanyi lwaki yene ensi gye bagenda obeeramu Kampala kibuga kyabwe. So they have to be in this city. They have to come and learn what happens in this city, how these cities are developing themselves, and go back and develop their own cities in their own localities. And that's the training we give.
Thank you. Kale, Dr. Professor Lawrence Muganga, the Vice Chancellor of Victoria University, gwe tulinayo olwaleero tugenda kunyumya ku bintu bingi ebiri mu ggwanga lyaffe. Doctor, njagala nga sina kutola ku byanjigiriza onyambe era tuddemu ekibuuzo kino. Can development happen without politics? Which one favors the other? Because we keep mwogera politics mungi temwogera development. Atosanga ebyo ffe bye mulimu ebya development ffe twetaaga byabufuzi as omuntu omuyivu. So there's a relationship between the two and tell which of the two can you forego and have the other.
Now, they both survive on one another. But education has a mandate to create, to nurture, and develop good politicians that are going to play fair politics that is geared towards national development. Not politics of intrigue, not politics of their own interests, but politics that boosts and supports every child of this country, every person around this country. So it doesn't matter where and where you come from in terms of politics, like situations, right? Where you are situated, which color you subscribe to. Your country should come first. And education, a good education, meaningful education, should be really nurturing those people who are going to see the country not as a divided country, not as a tribalistic country, not as like people who are just like grab this, run away, take it to your home, leave people who are really struggling in Mulago and they are dying, and you have run away with what would have really saved their lives, right? So when education goes wrong, then you have those people. So therefore, they too move together, but the superior one is education that has to nurture these people to be better people.
Not politics?
Not politics.
Is it not the politicians who set education policies for education to survive?
Okay, here is where we are saying, I mean, now it's a chicken and egg situation, right? But when you have an education that nurtures and develops hooligans,
you get those.
You're going to get a messed up.
You get those.
All right?
You get those.
You get a messed up education system, like a kind of an education that doesn't work for people. So therefore, we need to have an opportunity that the same people we have in government can recreate and nurture a very good education system that produces and nurtures someone who loves their country, who is patriotic to their country, and like something they point a finger at should be in the interest of all Ugandans, or even East Africans at that, but not just their own. Okay? So that's a good education system that instills good values, values that are communitarian and nationalistic in nature. But if you have an education system that produces people
who are that,
who are simply saying, you know, for me what matters is I am in this position.
Good, you're right up on Baba TV program Ganga Muka. Nile Dr. Lawrence Muganga. I think this morning Julius Buchana taught me that the man is a professor. I'm used to doctor. Now I have to start practicing and say Professor Lawrence Muganga wa Victoria University. Nga twetegereza ebintu bingi. Lwe yasembayo kujja wano yali awaana the lady's Husna, was the talk was about that lady yagenda okuvuganya mu mpaka za Miss Uganda, njagala producer munoni amukuwe so that we really celebrate with you the achievements of our new Miss Elite Uganda. The Miss Elite, get that image. I think we have the images. Producer, get the images of the Miss Elite Uganda. That lady, and then I want to understand from them what is it they celebrate. The whole university celebrated. They also gave a full scholarship. What was so special about this lady that they had to celebrate the achievement. But today we are supposed to speak hard issues, especially in higher education and in education policy reforms. But perhaps let the producer give us that about. But meanwhile, you can tell us how you ended. Mananembuza, is it that you don't have so much work to do? Or is it that it is your training? Because when Vice Chancellor wa University enamba ng'ogenze mu mpaka za Miss Uganda just because you have a student there. You know, ndabanga obafe mu ndaba ya Uganda oba wesiza nnyo bagenze okuba omuwala ekifaananyi nga naawe oli awo. Vice Chancellor omulamba najja mu bya Miss Uganda eby'omwana talina byakola. Oh, it is your work style. Where do you find time to attend these small things?
Very good question. And maybe there are people like you out there who are asking the same question. But isn't it that the very place where we lost it from? To believe that education is for the ivory tower dwellers who should stay up there and distance themselves away from the community,
yes.
Away from the people they nurture, away from the problems they are supposed to address, away from what matters for the country, away from what matters for families, away from what matters for people. That is an education that is dead. So, and I myself, I have educated myself, researched my way, trained myself to understand that a better education system should not look like that. So a meaningful education, if I'm an educator, I should be in position where I am, for example, to first of all ask every child that has been sent by a parent, like every child who sends us a parent, I need to ask these young people, what is your passion? What is your interest? Where do you see yourself in the next 10, 20 years? What are your natural abilities? And if you can paint for us that picture, our job is to nurture one whose passion, one whose interests, and their aspirations, such that you bring out the real person in this very body that God put in this person, the talent, the passion, the interest, the natural abilities, and extract them out and create a person who is going to be a productive, contributing member of society. So when you see me moving around, supporting every child who is playing soccer,
spending your night at the Miss
seated.
Uganda contest just because there is a Husina. There is a Husina.
Yes, Husina, Nasuna, Rita. Linda. So seated there almost all night.
All night.
It's because we admire, we cherish, we support the talent, the passion of every student that comes our way. And any education institution or system that does not take into consideration the natural abilities of a child and try to nurture them, to develop them, to showcase them to the world, that is a useless system. And Victoria University cannot be party to that. We appreciate every talent that comes to us. We nurture that talent. We support them. We showcase these people to the world. And, and we go there to support them. We stand with them. They win, we win together. They fail, we fail together. And failure is not a problem. It is an opportunity to regroup and do better. And then tell the world that I'm a winner now. That's what you saw.
Supposing your boss called you at that time and said, hello, Professor, I want you here. Would you tell him straight that, no, I'm attending the Miss Uganda contest?
My job is to nurture, support, develop my students. And that's what he hired me to do. And he would be very, very proud that I'm actually doing an excellent job when I have done something like that.
What was so special about this student?
Now, this student is an example of so many young women that have faced huge obstacles. Some of them even unmentionable here on national television. You can't. But she has faced immense poverty, like so many young girls or young children around this country. But emotional breakdown that emerges out of the so many unspeakable things that have happened to this young girl, to those who understand her story. But she gathered the courage. She gathered the strength to step forward and say, you know what, I will not allow emotional breakdown. I will not allow every obstacle. I will not allow everyone who has pulled me down. I will show face. I will stand up.
Producer, give us the image of that girl.
I'll even become Miss Uganda.
And we are determined to support her.
And as Victoria University, immediately you show your passion, you are in the right place. It doesn't matter which talent you have that God has given you. We will support you to the end. And now Husina, Nasuna, Linda is going to represent Uganda. Not just Victoria University, not just her family, but she is going to represent our country in Miss Elite World. All right? Which is scheduled to happen in May in Egypt. So that's why you see us support
But
people.
where is Miss Uganda pageant in your curriculum?
No, like it doesn't. You don't have to teach Miss Uganda. You can teach problem solving. You can teach public speaking, effective communication. You can teach how to live with others. You can teach like all those things that make you. It's not about most of the time of even the beauty. It's about nurturing the person who is developmental and productive within their very community or in the country, or who is really willing to touch other people's lives, who is willing to articulate issues and share them such that they are understandable, who can solve different problems. So that is what we teach.
And I saw you celebrated and gave her a scholarship.
100%. Now, from the background that I've talked about you briefly, what this girl really went through to even have the boldness to step forward and contest for Miss Uganda, and then for having made Victoria University proud. So we want the entire country to see that hard work is rewarded, right? Hard work is rewarded. So we said, you have a talent, you have a passion, you are now going to represent our country, you are going to represent Victoria University overseas, internationally, so you deserve a scholarship.
Osina, Nasuna, Linda.
Yes, sir.
Who you escorted and spent your whole night
almost,
in this
yes,
Uganda contest, just to see her through and watch her.
And now she's a pride of Uganda.
Pride of Uganda. You said she's going to represent us?
Uganda in Miss Elite World.
Okay.
All right? That means all countries in the world are coming together with their young girls. And Uganda, their best young girls. And Uganda has a representative. And she's from Victoria University. So to the parent out there, you have seen something beautiful, a strength, a passion, a talent in your child. I can guarantee you that we are the best place at Victoria University to nurture and support this passion, talent to thrive.
It's very good. Kale, we congratulate you, Osina, upon that great achievement. I think we are going to have a short break, and when we come back, I want to investigate the distance between Dr. Professor Muganga and his students. We need to look at that vis-a-vis what we know. Let's come back after this short break. Hot Cup at 9 this morning. We are privileged to have Professor Lawrence Muganga, the Vice Chancellor of Victoria University and an educationist of our time. I think many people have enjoyed him and his discussions about the education sector, his views about the outlook of Uganda's education. Things have been interesting. But just something comes to my mind. I've been to Makerere 3 times because I've done all my education there. And in all the times I've been there, I've never reached the Vice Chancellor. Not even a handshake, other than looking at him in a distance presiding over functions. Because if at Makerere you had to reach the Vice Chancellor, you would still go through the class representative, then you go through your lecturer, go through the head of department, his assistants, and then go through the head of department. And at every time you want to read, they will say, what is the matter? What is the matter? What is the matter? So the distance between the student and the Vice Chancellor is so huge that in the 9 years I've been at Makerere, I'm using Makerere because it's where I've been, I was not able to reach the Vice Chancellor. Now I want to find out, why have you made almost a zero distance between yourself and these individual students? Could it be that you don't trust the teachers, the lecturers handling them? Or could it be that you are insecure in your office, or you want to be close to these students? Or could it be for any other reason other than the disabled ones?
Now, Simon, ask yourself, is there a difference between a university and a hospital? What is the difference?
They are all service institutions.
Okay, who goes to a hospital?
The patient.
And who goes to a university?
The student.
The student. So that means a university cannot be a university without students.
It cannot be.
We agree.
It cannot be.
That means a Vice Chancellor cannot be, even that title cannot. Have you ever seen a Vice Chancellor of a hospital?
No.
No. You can only find a Vice Chancellor in what? Universities. You cannot, I cannot be a Vice Chancellor without what? Students. And every professor, we call them professors, no one can become a professor without the student. A lecturer, senior lecturer, assistant, whatever you want, without a student. So, if the student is actually the definition of who we are, how dare do you stay away from the students? No, my job is to nurture, to develop, and hold these students to be who they are. That is the trust bestowed to me.
True.
All right? Now, the day I start distancing myself, I have suffered the same. We've gone to Makerere, I've gone to different other universities, of course not in Uganda, other universities, the president of the university is equivalent to the vice chancellor, say North America. Like you can interact with your vice chancellor elsewhere.
That quickly, that easily.
Yes, but here, it is a problem. Even a dean of student, it is hard to...
That's why you create those many titles, dean,
yes,
head of this,
yes,
head of this,
so,
head of that.
Now, and that's the bigger problem. Do you think being a vice chancellor takes away the person I am? No. Do you think my mother even knows that I'm a vice chancellor?
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't. She only knows that she has a son called Lawrence. So, why is it that all of a sudden, when you are a vice chancellor, who is actually, your job is to make sure that these students get meaningful education that is going to transform them into the best citizen that is productive to themselves, productive to the country, productive to the world, and then you distance yourself away from you. That is where the system begins to fail from.
Are your lecturers comfortable?
And then we start blaming government. How has government stopped you from actually staying closer to the people you're supposed to support? Then you don't know what their problems are. You don't know what their issues are. You don't know what their aspirations are. You don't know what their passions are.
You can get that through the dean, the head of department, the guide, the custodian, there's so many others.
Exactly. The day you start distancing yourself as the head, even the head of department will feel the power that I'm now also in charge. They'll also do what? Lead by example. And don't distance yourself from the dean, from the head of department, from your council members, be closer to them. Decision making, interactions.
There is trouble in schools whose heads think the students are very important. And I see that's the school of thought you belong to.
100%. But I cannot be a vice chancellor without a student. So my job hinges on having a student. So, and supporting the student to be satisfied with the service I provide. And that's what we do. That's our model at Victoria University. The rest can approach it differently. It is an independent country, Uganda, we live in, and people can do things differently. But for us, the vice chancellor, the deputy vice chancellor, the deans, the dean of students, the academic registrar, the bursar, please remain closer to the purpose. And the purpose is for us to nurture and develop and bring up the child that was entrusted to us and make them, support them to be that very person that their parents want them to become or themselves want to become. That is meaningful education. And that's why we cannot detach ourselves from the very person who makes us who we are, the student.
Is that not the reason we have had issues of sex for marks? When you allow these teachers, your lecturers, to get too close to these students, they discuss official and unofficial businesses, and in getting too close, you have seen what has happened. These cases have been open. We have cases reported in Uganda where a lecturer attempted to rape a student or even raped from the offices.
Correct.
So this closeness, the Ugandan model is that when you get too close, especially to now girls,
exactly. And that's why I tell people that we ought to understand that everything we want our students to learn should be learned in the real life context, right? You want our teachers to have great moral values? Yes. You're not going to have them have the best moral values by holding them and hiding them somewhere from a room and keep them there. The moment you release them, they become like beasts again. No, bring them to the real world. They should know that assaulting a student is illegal. You will not do it. Soliciting sex for marks is unacceptable in society, and it is immoral and it is illegal. They will not do it, right? So everyone learns on a daily basis. So it's not about you hiding them from somewhere and then pretend that these problems don't exist. Just let people interact. If someone has a problem, remember, if you're open, like the way we are open, now, this lecturer will not even try, because this student can talk to Simon, can talk to Simon.
Actually what that is. If
exactly.
The can go to the vice chancellor, said
anyone, even the vice chancellor himself cannot dare do anything wrong. A teacher can't, anyone, because this student can access anyone. So openness solves every problem. Transparency solves every problem. But the moment you start hiding things, that's the root cause of most of the problems.
Have you agreed on this model with your leaders?
No, sometimes...
Because I see strange things in the way you are running the university.
Correct.
That you want to institute a new model. You are doing things, because you are running a university as a business environment, a business world. Because in the business world, that's why we are too loyal to customers. Tubeguya nnyo, your client wafe, you are welcome. These students,
Okay. Now, do you see where we started from, asking me the difference, if there is a difference between politics and education? Now, if I am a university that does not care about my students, then why do we exist in the first place? Because the profit, if there is a profit expected by my board of directors, like the promoters of the university, this money comes from students. They pay their fees. If someone pays their money, give them value and respect them, pay attention to them, support them. That's the least you can do, for God's sake. In your job, that's my job. Now, for me to stay away from them, then I am not doing my job. And you talked about my leadership. Do they concur with what I'm doing? By the time they hire me, it's because they have understood. And by the way, before I get hired, accept the contract is, I tell them, okay, this is my engagement plan. This is what I intend to do. Are we together on this one? Yes, sign it off, and I sign it off. So let's engage. That is the education I would love to see in this country. An education that is no longer distant from the people they serve. Like an education where a student sees a vice chancellor on TV. That's the last time they will ever see this vice chancellor or their dean. Then, yes, there are channels of how to solve these problems, but sometimes it's better to really be on ground and understand how these people feel. And once you are there, you feel the empathy. Not that you are told a story that this student is going through this. No, see this person, develop the empathy, and solve the problems.
I hope you're aware that I'm a teacher, the professional.
So if you're a teacher who has been thinking the way you describe what goes on in the university of the past, reform. Be a better teacher that nurtures students, supports students, understand these students, and be there for them, because you're a teacher because of the student.
Teachers, we are always uncomfortable when we see a head of an institution like you.
Yes, because
really interacting with these students.
Because you fear that your flaws are going to be exposed by the students. If you are so clean, you have zero flaws, why do you have to worry that the student is interacting with the head of the institution? You shouldn't. That's why we should be transparent. We should be open. Discuss things openly, such that our biggest client, the student, we shouldn't even shy away from that. Honestly, the student is our client. I'm not a vice chancellor if I don't have a student. You cannot be a teacher if there is no student. So, the so-called education we talk about, the teaching fraternity becomes a fraternity because there is a student fraternity. The teaching community becomes a community because there is a student community. So we have to work together, both of us, the two communities. And if we can't be closer to each other, then there is a problem. That's where education begins to become a mess. In the past, maybe it has worked, and some people have tended to accumulate power, and they think power comes from distancing themselves from the person they are supposed to serve. If you distance yourself from the person you're supposed to serve, then you are not serving them fairly.
Is education a business?
Everything in this world is a business. Even managing and running your family is a business. How? What do you want when you're nurturing your children?
Good results.
Success, right?
Success.
That's business. Now you invest, right? Expecting to get returns.
Yes.
Then
I
what
want
is
a better child. I want a
Thank
better
you very
citizen of
much.
tomorrow.
So business is just the way we do things, transact things, sometimes invest in things, expecting returns. Sometimes the returns may be charitable in nature and everything, but that's the business. The business of not-for-profit, the business of non-government organizations, the business, government business. Who is in the leader of government business?
Is a politician.
Thank you. So business is where? Everywhere.
Government has business, actually. They call him leader of government business.
Thank you very much.
As if he's trading there.
It's not about, people tend to think that business is trading. No, business is the art of doing things with expected success. So in other words, when me and you are solving a particular problem, at that point in time, our business is to solve that problem, and we are awaiting success. So, yes, so there should be, we have invested effort, time, sometimes resources. We are expecting to see some results thereafter. So that is business for us. Now it can be a hospital, it can be a school, it can be a wedding, preparing a wedding, it can be anything. So people tend to misuse the word business to think that, oh, our business is where unscrupulous businessmen are there to extract money from the public and sell them things that on exorbitant prices. No. Business is us sitting down, identify what brings us together. What we want to, really there is a problem, we want to solve this problem, and we are investing in money, resources, time, effort, contacts, networks, and then expecting a result that is positive. That is business.
Away from your vice chancellor role, do you get time to lecture? Do you lecture in anything?
I teach.
You teach?
That's why I'm telling you, stay closer to the client. Now,
you teach?
How do I expect? I do teach. To me, teaching is a calling. I either teach or I perish. Sometimes I teach teachers, other times I teach students. I even supervise my students who are pursuing different research. So, I am a teacher. I grew up.
You teach at Victoria University?
I do teach. I do supervise my students, and I am the vice chancellor. So I know it is perturbing, right? A vice chancellor to be teaching.
Class? You get time to go to class?
Yes, I remember last semester. I was teaching change management to postgraduate students, master's students. All right. I have sometimes to also help my teachers, teach them how to teach better, become better teachers.
Teach the teachers and teach
the
students.
Correct.
Also.
Yes. So that is who the person I am, and what we need to do as leaders. Lead by example. Now, a teacher cannot come to me and tell me that this happens when you teach. No, I am a teacher. So perhaps you even taught the same students I taught. So you will not tell me that this student is more problematic and this one is this. No, we have exposed ourselves to the same students, like we have taught them. We have nurtured them, right? No, Sebo, ekitutwala mu mulimo guno is to give our all. There is one thing we should pay attention to, is that the students that come to Victoria University are not just our students. They're not going to live in our world of Victoria University. These are students of Uganda. They are Ugandans. And Uganda, every Ugandan expects them to become productive, to change their country. We are trying to nurture change makers of this country, of East Africa, of the world. So we have to give our all. And whatever I say, just know that Julius, who is seated there, is doing the same. Every teacher who is in class right now is doing the same and will tell you the same and will do the same. That is the work ethic. That's the belief. That is what defines the Victoria University community.
Have you been able
And
to
we don't
attract-
apologize for that. Because we know we are doing what is right.
You don't apologize for that. Okay,
We don't
that's
apologize
okay.
for doing good.
That is your model, because I have taken time to investigate into it. Have you been able to attract students from neighboring countries? Do you have some?
You will be amazed to hear that we have students that come from 51 countries. You want me to name them? Comoros, as far as Afghanistan, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, UK, US, DRC, these are obvious. DRC, Rwanda, South Sudan, Somalia, Kenya, those are obvious. But I've started with what you would not have thought.
Because why would somebody from UK come?
The farthest student we have right now, I think one student, I think she has graduated. She comes from Norway. Just imagine, Norway. So I told you we have Afghanistan, Norway, Qatar, the other UAE. UAE, there are so many. UK, we have one. We have some students, like 2 or 3. There is a German student that registered, I think, last week. So that's how close I am to what goes on in our university.
You even know the numbers of 1.
Yes,
2.
yes, because these are, that begins to show you the internationality, if that is a word, of the kind of programming or programs we have to offer to the world. That if a German is finding value in what we are trying to offer at Victoria University, then to me, that's of keen interest to understand what did they pick out most. Then I keep improving again, right? If the British has chosen to pursue people from the UK have chosen to pursue programs at Victoria University, then I need to understand why, and if there is an element of quality and need they have, then I have to find a way of keep improving. In the end, I want to develop what this country will be proud of, education tourism.
But these countries, the different countries you have named, they have different education systems. How do these students find it easy?
Higher education, if you only have to raise your what you have to offer, your education system as a university, to the highest standard, such that their degree is now equated to their degree in their home country. So if you have met that, then you'll see them coming over and you see yours going over. Now we have a relationship with the University of Western England in Bristol, where our student can study a year here and then decides to complete the last 2 years in that university in England. And then is granted a Victoria University degree and a UE, University of West England degree there. So that's how we have brought quality to the same level with these universities overseas. Or can choose to do 2 years in Victoria University and complete 1 year in England and get the degree there and get the degree here. So still the level, the quality level is at this, it's at par, it's the same. So now once you have something like that, and these are from different faculties, business, science and technology, how we have this kind of exchange. And we are doing that with different countries. And very soon, actually let me break it on your show for the first time.
Looking through the camera, we have the breaking news now.
Very soon, we have just concluded a partnership with NHS in the United Kingdom and our partners here within the Ruparelia group. Every nurse who will come or who studies at Victoria University, and anyone who will be interested to study pursue their nursing degree program at Victoria University, and is interested to work in the UK as a nurse, now we are able to facilitate that process of all our students from Victoria University to go and work in the NHS system in the UK, effective this year.
That's a milestone.
And that's the standard we have raised of the nurses that come to Victoria University.
If I train as a nurse
at Victoria University, now you can work.
And I am interested in working as a nurse
in the UK.
In the UK.
We will make sure you go there and do that. Because we have that partnership now of sending them about 300 nurses a year. Now, you go there, work hard, the pay is great, come bring back the money and develop your country. Support your people.
That's important that remember.
Yes.
That when you go there,
yes.
Do
you know how much money Nigeria is making in terms of foreign earnings? Like their people go out and bring back this money. Now that's where we want to support our people. Go to the UK as a nurse, make money, send it back to Uganda, help your people in Uganda, help your country.
Baba TV program Muganga, the Hot Cup at 9 with Professor Lawrence Muganga, the Vice Chancellor of Victoria University. We have done so much about Victoria University and this model. When we return, we look at the general education issues in our country after this short break. At 9, when our second and last hour of the Hot Cup at 9, with Professor Lawrence Muganga, the Vice Chancellor of Victoria University. I'm interested in understanding whether you are first of all alive to the education reforms taking place in our country. There is a lot of reforms in the education sector at O, at A level. Now I've also heard at primary level. And if you are following, what particularly are you following? But perhaps before that, I wanted you to tell me and the audience, buli muntu aba n'ekintu kyakola kyaga nti byonna mbikola naye bwe kituuka ku kino awo ndi kafulu naye n'ebirala oba obikola. It's like when it comes to food, nze ndya emmere yonna naye bwe kituuka ku kalo awo nnemerawo nnyo. Kiki Victoria University yo kyeremeddeko? Because I have just heard of recent times that they are saying universities should not be teaching, should be into research now. So kiki ewuwo kyoga nti kino byonna tubikola naye kino kwafe abali mu audience by the way tulina bye tumanyi nti ayagala kusoma kinti kino tigenda wano ayagala kusoma nti kino nti ekyo genda wano kiki kyoga nti this is our core, one or two?
I'll give you two. I know everyone can teach, everyone can do research, and those are inherent duties. We cannot subcontract. We have to do them, right? Now, yeah, there's two important things. We understand that the country, and beyond the country, the world, we all live in a digital economy. Okay?
That's where we are going. That's where we are.
That's where we are.
And that's where we are going.
And the world is now driven by technology.
True that.
And the most important game changers of society today, you realize they are, one, data science or technology at large, blockchain technology, like you call it technology at large. So therefore, Victoria University is technology driven. Everything you do, you study, you put your eyes to, has to be driven or led by technology. You are a teacher, you can't run away from technology. You are a student, you have to be part of the technology revolution at Victoria University, because the world you're training to be part of is driven by technology. If I don't give you those competencies, if Victoria University does not give you such competencies, then we have given you fake education, because you will not fit in the real world.
You come to the world and find a strange world here.
Thank you very much.
That is true.
So that's number one.
Okay.
Number two, for years, there is this fact that everyone who graduates from a university is also asked to produce 2 years of experience, 3 years of experience, 4 years of experience. But universities have also made it a culture or a norm to produce graduates with 0 years of what? Experience. Yes. Now at Victoria University,
perhaps with the 2 months of internship.
Or 3 months. Oh, no, give them what they deserve. 3
months of internship training.
With the exception of maybe the people pursuing medical degrees, because their classroom is a hospital most of the time. If them medical degrees, they are like vocational, if them they can work in the real world, what stops other disciplines to also work in the real world?
I also hear the lawyers operate you or something of that.
Exactly. So now, for us at Victoria University, we have prioritized work integrated learning. We have prioritized experiential learning. Work integrated learning. We call it WIL. So now, WIL simply means that you will come to Victoria University, pursue a module a month, 1 module a month. That means like those are like 9 to 10 hours a week. The rest of the hours and days, we will find a placement for you, a real life job. We place you there. Now you learn how the world works. For the next 3 years, if you were in year 1, you will spend the next 3 years in the real world, working, gaining experience, because that's what the employer needs.
You are telling me that if I come to do journalism, for example,
yes,
you can place me at Baba TV.
Thank you.
While I study, I work.
Earlier today, when we went to the break, we were discussing something like you need a journalist. Why should I train a journalist in the classroom? Because
when he's going to work here?
When he's going to work in the real world at Baba TV. So I rather send my students, then Baba TV becomes co-educators with Victoria University. So train these people how to do photography, how to roll these cameras, how to edit whichever script.
Do this lighting you see.
Do the lighting, beautiful. Because that's the real world they're going to live in. So at Victoria University, we have made that a priority. You learn by doing. You have the best learning management system that will give you all the content from wherever you are, anytime. But we can't teach you experience. You know who is going to teach you experience? They are the employer, the industry. In other words, Victoria University has brought the industry to the classroom and taken the industry as well to the classroom to the industry. So those are the 2 things. Technology, work integrated learning. So we cannot afford to see our student leaving the university with 0 years of experience or 4 months of internship. No employer needs that. It's not enough. Even when
actually,
they want...
when employers ask for experience and you say, I did internship at this place, they don't take it.
No one wants to listen.
They say, no, I don't say internship, I said experience. No. They don't take internship for experience.
Thank you very much. You need to have been immersed yourself in the world of work, understand how people team up together.
Is that model applicable here? Now, tomorrow you may have 10,000 students.
Okay. The problem comes when people think that things are impossible. Now, we know that. Why are you training students who are simply going to look for jobs? No, everyone has to have an entrepreneurial way of doing things. Entrepreneurship is not just for people who are doing business, but everyone. Therefore, there are some students who are actually being nurtured to think, they're thinking of their revolutionary ideas, creative ideas, innovative ideas. So we help them in our innovation hub, nurture these ideas, transform them into solutions, all right? So these solutions get to be monetized into a small startup, and then this startup employs this person, the idea generator, and then they bring on board other students who are interested to collaborate within this idea. So we have to have that thinking, that's way of doing business, such that you also create job creators, not just job seekers who are being planted in different organizations to work. So we hope, yes, it can be a problem if you're not a good planner, and we're not that. So we try our best to make sure.
I have the disclaimer. It comes handy.
Listen, you remember, if you fail to plan, there's that saying, if you fail to plan, you do what? If you don't plan, you fail to something. Yes, so we are not that kind. So we are saying everything is not, like everything is possible. Even the word impossible simply borrowed the two letters I and M. So we just make things possible. It's a matter of us now telling the amazing employers in this country that you want graduates who have experience. That's your outcry, everyone. But then, how do you expect a university to give you a student who has experience? How? The teacher, probably even the teachers we have, someone is teaching business administration, but they don't even run a kiosk. Right? They have never run even a failing kiosk. They are experts of the book. So therefore, to save these young people, young men and women, employers, companies, the amazing companies out there, we have to become co-educators. We have the industry and the learning institutions, we have to work together. Help us teach the students the soft skills, all the 21st century skills you're looking for. We will give them the knowledge, but we have to work together. So that's what we do. Bring together all the partners, as many from the industry, as many as possible. Sign up with us to work with us. We will give them students to work for you for free, but not actually free, because you're going to pay them experience, but they are not going to demand a salary. But if you're kind enough and you're going to give them some transport or what, it's okay.
That's experience.
Yes, what we will
experience how a salary is earned.
Thank you.
How it is saved.
Exactly.
What is a necessary? What are these
yes,
things?
but what we will do, maybe we'll give them insurance, such that if in case of anything, accident and everything.
What we will teach them here is to open for them an SSF number, so that they learn that
perfect.
What you have to
how
save.
to file taxes, all those things. So we give them health an insurance, such that they are protected in case of anything at your workplace. They are not a liability to you, okay? But teach them experience that you need. That is a noble cause to your country as employers.
We arrived to the very moment of why I wanted you.
So we have not been...
We're just running around a few things. Now you have... because your model is informed by having studied the defects in Uganda's current education. That's what it is. For you to come to the model you are advocating for, you must have studied this market or this industry and find out where the issues are. May we now, for the benefit of Uganda, talk about the challenges of Uganda's higher education. What do you see as gaps in Uganda's higher education? Because you have crafted your model around solutions.
True.
That means you know the problems. What are the problems in Uganda's higher education? Now,
you know, people understand better when you give them quick examples.
Give me one.
Let me give you one. Yeah, I want you to, you are a journalist who sometimes chooses to even do it.
Before the Buchanas got here.
Thank you very much. Who chooses to do investigative journalism and everything. You don't even need to investigate. Just think back a few years you were in university. I'm sure whatever you witness has not changed today, and I'm going to tell you this. Simon and viewers, a student goes to a university in this country, and at the end of the semester, what happens? An exam.
Exams. Yes.
Right?
Mm. You have skipped the midterm.
You have skipped all those.
Courseworks also.
Okay? But thank you, you have even mentioned the midterm.
We have
okay?
midterm tests.
Keep the course. There's a coursework, there's a midterm, there is also the final exam. Let's just point out things that people understand and face on a daily basis. Now, let's arrive at the point of the exam. Remember, when that exam timetable is out, a student will show up in the examination room, and they will sit in rows and columns.
True.
Thank you.
Armed with pens.
Armed with pens and what?
Papers.
And then they are going to put a question paper in front on their desk, and they will tell them, do not open that question paper until you're told to do so. The exam will last 3 hours. It is now 10:14. Start. And then they flip the papers. They will have given them answer sheets, and then
read through.
The poor student will read through and will start writing and writing.
Don't forget to put your name. Such things always come. A
registration number, name, and everything. And then you write and write and write. You finish a script, they give you another script. You write and write and write. You give you another. If you're like a big writer like myself, you write and write 3 scripts. You're done. They collect it. kirabika kubeera mu class nange wandibise wandikanga nnyo naye leka tukomewo ku kye twali twogerako omwana oyo amaze owandika ebintu. You have written all those things. As a journalist, you see the skill, you only give what you wear, what you also have. Right? You can't give what you have. So the system has taught you to handwrite and handwrite and handwrite. Yes. From coursework to midterm to final exam, you're handwriting. And when you come to the real world, at the job, no supervisor wants a report that is handwritten. You've spent years of handwriting. All right? So tell me, do you send anything out?
Not at all.
Handwritten?
Not at all.
Now, do you know the problem we have? We have graduates that once they are confronted with a computer, they type as if a chicken is walking on a keyboard. I am telling you, that's the truth.
My employer cannot accept
a handwritten application, CV,
yes.
And then later on when on your job, you have to type your report. Everything you're working on has to be typed. But the university has spent years and years nurturing you how to handwrite.
I can guarantee that there are many university graduates who cannot type. That one I can guarantee. In Uganda.
Massive. Now that's where you begin to think from. We cannot. That's the simplest way of thinking.
I wrote things.
Yet, why can't we teach people what they will do in the real world?
Muganga.
Is that so hard to think?
You want me to go back and pay my money because I learned typing after school.
Let me tell you.
I learned typing after school.
After university?
Yes, after university.
For us, someone in Makerere, when we were studying, we were learning computer, right? I learned a computer by looking at it. Does that mean learning? Because we were 20, there was one computer, all of us were learning a computer by looking at it.
This professor of Victoria University.
You know?
Computer is hands-on.
Exactly, but we learned it by looking at it, and then the theory they gave us, and we were actually working with DOS, MS-DOS of that time. And the teacher is showing us how MS-DOS works and everything, and we are watching one computer. And then they examined us. We got our 70s, 80s, and we
I
passed.
don't want to guess was this Pentium 3 that had the stomach.
Certainly. So now you pity the employer who is going to receive me at that point in time as a person who knows computer. I have 8
weekly reports.
Exactly.
And people fail to work and say, that company is very strict every week. If
Now-
they want a report,
now-
I can't manage.
Now, Simon, do you want government to come and tell you that that is wrong? With the economy, the world we live in today, people are faced with jobs where they don't have to leave their country. Jobs are offered from New York, they are offered from Amsterdam, from Toronto, from where, but you stay where you are. But you can't type.
You can do consultancy for Uganda from the US.
But you can't type. The best skill, typing.
That is very true.
Now, you talk about issues in higher education. Begin with the simple ones, that one. Now, if a university is not paying attention to addressing that small anomaly, then what are we doing? And we are busy churning out and we are proud to send these students out of the university on graduations.
When we were in university, you know, I did research. We would go around Makerere University there, Makerere, where?
Like one day, in
Cafe.
cafes. That's what is still happening in different universities.
The person typing for you is actually senior 4 dropout who just went and did.
You remember those typists
Yes,
on
typists.
typewriter, those things that move
Yes.
right? Maybe senior 1, senior 2, but they type like they are like robots. For us, I told you I learned a computer. That is, when I say I learned a computer, I don't mean that I learned actually, but we learned a computer by looking at it. I saw a computer and then I was told MS-DOS is like this, and then they gave me a handout, I read it, and I passed.
You passed?
Computer, without touching a computer. That's our education system. So we need to change that. Okay? We really, really need to change that. You cannot be teaching students how to handwrite when the real world wants them to type, to edit things.
You now bring me to the second one. That we do much of writing these examinations and we don't speak them.
Correct.
When I was doing my master's in Makerere, it's the first time I came across a lecture requiring me to present my coursework in a PowerPoint form. And we had to consult others.
Correct.
What it was. And
Thank
there, you had to speak it out.
Speak it, live it, own it.
Speak it out.
Do you know what you're learning in that process? You're learning how to make a case. How you
defend
practice
your case.
public speaking. Your listening skills.
Researching, because you have facts. You know the whole class is going to ask you.
Preparing to undo the nervousness that is in you. Those are the skills required in the real world. The values, the virtues, like dress nicely to appear in front of people.
The lecturer will remind us and say, I want a nice presentation, but not only of the content, but also
of the person. Now, that is the real world. The real world is not going to look for notes. No, because the notes are here on this phone. But you, how do you present yourself? How do you use your notes to solve problems that society is craving to be solved? So, show up, very well dressed, like command respect, make make your case, convince people why this is a problem and why your solution is the best to solve that problem, and then the world will be open for you to do whichever business you want to do.
Now, I
But
remember
once you hide behind a pen, then you have a
I
problem.
think, say, for O and A level where we did, I think O level where we would do some debating.
Or some seminars.
Debates and some seminars.
Yes.
I think at university here, where you actually, because at university we're not learning, just piling content.
You are
We're
hiding
looking at
behind a
solutions
handout and a pen, and then you handwrite. But now let me tell you what is even worse. If you thought higher education has, we begin with the basic issues that you hope everyone would have thought about, and you think that these are addressable. Now, here's we have talked about the answer sheet, right? That is handwritten. Do you realize that if you got, for example, 10 public institutions, put them together, to print those answer sheets, may be costing government, let me even give it the smallest amount you can, say in a year, say 15 billions. To print those answer sheets.
To print?
Just to print those answer sheets. Even if it is 10 billions, okay? 10 billions, for example, to print answer sheets, which is unrealistic. It is supposed to be more, okay? To print answer sheets that the students, like if you have bigger universities, for example, that have 40,000 students, for example, then just know like coursework, midterm, exam, if every student is using 2 answer sheets, those are 6 times 2, those are 2 semesters, so that's 12 answer sheets, right? Now, if, say for example, an answer sheet was to be printed at, say, 1,000 shillings, okay? 12 times 40,000 times 1,000, just one institution. How much money is that? What does it take for the country, for these institutions, higher education, to say, you know what, enough, an exam is going to be conducted online. You don't need an answer sheet. Your answer sheet is online. The only thing,
your pen is online.
Your pen is online. The only thing you need to show up with either your computer. If you don't have it, go to the lab and sit down, and it is now 9 a.m. or it is 10:25, start. Now, you have saved that 15 billions.
That would go on paper?
That would have gone on paper. You have taught students the skills they need in real life. Now, the teachers who were marking with a pen and everything, now once the system is developed in such a way that once the students have submitted their answer sheet, then the teacher is receiving the answer sheet. You start marking online. Results, once you're done, they go to the mark sheet, which goes to the academic registrar online. So everything, everyone, teachers, digital competencies, students, digital competencies, administrators, digital competencies.
And the student are learning some.
You have saved money, billions of money, this country. You have taught the required skill to the student, to the administrator. Simon, do we really need the government to come and tell us that what we are doing is wrong?
As the head of institution.
That's what we are doing.
So if it's good, why are you not doing it at Victoria University?
That's everything I have said is what we do at Victoria University.
A short break. Education not reflecting so much in the change in our quality of life. Tulina abantu basomye nnyo bangi. We keep talking about universities churning out thousands and thousands of graduates every year. But bw'otuuka era mu kyalo olaba ng'ekyalo kiraba graduates bangi olyaga nze na gudi bwesi naye ng'era embeera z'ekyalo ekyo zo practically tezisobodde kukyuka. Lwaki okusoma tekusobodde nnyo kukyusa the overall picture, quality of life and overall growth of our country?
So ekibuuzo ekyo kyangu nnyo bula buli muntu yandibadde akitegeera. We have a system that asks students, it gives students notes, okay? Here is your pamphlet or your textbook. Read everything. Where we also have the mighty teacher standing in front of this student, giving him or her everything, using the pamphlet, the handout, the book. And then somewhere, somehow, the teacher is going to expect a coursework, midterm and exam, by asking the student to remember these things and give them to the teacher back. Now,
the biggest duty is to remember.
To remember now.
Remember.
Make sure for the last 4 months I have taught you, you remember everything. I need back my 100% that I gave you. If you give me 80, you got an A. If you gave me 30%, you have an F. You have failed.
Why did you remember so little?
Why, exactly. That's the system we have. Yet, we have a society, urban, semi-urban, rural, that has problems. And those problems are in front of us all.
You don't need to remember anything.
You just need to look at it and think
Deal with it.
of a solution to solve the problem. So the education we have, rarely will it ever mirror or resemble or look like or tend to solve the problems of society. So in other words, an education does not mirror real life. So we have students...
Yet its whole purpose is
to transform society. But a student has been educated... Okay, I'm even using a wrong word. A student has been miseducated. Miseducated, and they are expecting them to transform society. Society has problems. The student has learned nothing regarding how to solve a problem. Has learned nothing how to go in the real world, identify a problem, work with the people concerned, the stakeholders, and actually reach consensus on how to solve that problem. So in other words, learning is not integrated in the real world. So why are you expecting the millions of graduates we have to undo the problems we have in society? They were never trained in the first place to be problem solvers. Until we change that. Until we make the community, the real world, our classroom. Until we stop having what we call examples, hypothetical examples, hypothesis. Why are you using examples, hypothetical examples, when there is actually real things, problems that are happening? You have students in Kampala that are studying civil engineering, architecture, okay? But we also have floods around the what? The city. Go to Wais and see. Why is it that the civil engineering students of all universities that are dwelling in Kampala can just do a charity kind of project to go and learn by doing for free? Just have the municipalities avail a few resources here and there and apply for grants here and there and build for us.
There is the problem.
Yes, solve that problem. You don't have to bring Chinese, you don't have to bring who to come and charge a lot of money. We have students who have the thirst to learn, they want to fit in a future where they have experience. Give them a chance to solve that problem in the real world, not in the classroom.
If you brought a Chinese expert, who will be a teacher as a supervisor. Thank
you very much. So, it's like you're expecting like a mother to breastfeed their child, but you're not feeding them. It's not going to happen. She's going to starve, the child is going to starve, and eventually they will perish.
I am looking at it like osuubira omwana gw'embuzi okuva mu nte.
Oyagala ente ezaala embuzi. Exactly. It is impossible. Our students, like right now, like it is very dominant, and for everyone to see that currently higher education, to a larger extent, is miseducating most of the students that go.
Yet the numbers of those going for it are growing.
They're increasing every day. And when they drop, we complain. But people, trust people, are beginning to see light. Now they are saying, you know what? No. My child is going into a technical or a vocational what? School, where they will learn by doing. They will see a problem, they will solve it. Not someone learning to remember. Learning to remember has a problem. Internet can remember everything for you. You don't need to remember things. Yes, you don't need to remember anything.
Google can answer anything.
Thank you. So you don't need to remember everything. So online, internet can answer those things for you, but they can no internet can come to solve a problem in society. You can use it to see some of how others have really resolved this problem and then apply it there. So the earlier...
Actually, if microphone goes off now, I cannot call my daughter to say, bring me the book we studied in June.
No.
I have to solve it
here.
You
solve it here. If you can't even get some tips of doing it, you go on YouTube and see how others...
Microphone, Sennheiser off, and then it shows you how to solve
then
the problem.
Those are the problems. So do you need a teacher? No. So a teacher should be the facilitators of learning in the real world, solving real problems, empowering everyone to become a problem solver, to become an innovator. Innovation should become a culture for us. That's how we are going to transform society.
Is government solving the real problem that are proposed?
Now,
there are these education reforms that are taking
who is
place.
supposed to advise government in education? Who? It is us, right?
The teachers, I think.
Thank you.
Interface with
the scholars,
we,
the teachers and everyone, the scholars in the education sector. We are supposed to advise government, right?
Yes,
but we are doing the opposite of what meaningful education is supposed to look like. So, what do you expect government to do?
What advice can they pick from us?
2 of us, maybe? You mean? Like teachers? A lot. If we started telling them how real problem solving will look like, how meaningful education will look like. Like, we cannot really pretend that someone to remember things will become a problem solver in society. That's not going to happen. We have a problem with our education system. So, experiential learning, work integrated learning, entrepreneurial innovative learning. So innovation should be the fabric of our nation right now. Because there is no government in the world, Mr. Rutaya, no government in the world that will ever create enough employment. Like public jobs, they're never going to be there. Never. It's not going to happen. So to the viewers, you may like this or you may not like it, but that's the truth. There is no government in the world, forget about Uganda, forget about East Africa, which government will ever create public jobs that are enough. The least they can do is to create an environment that is friendly enough to allow innovators or innovation to thrive. And innovation is all about identifying a problem, and then identify a solution associated to that problem or that is supposed to really do away with that problem, then monetize this solution. You have a startup, it becomes a company, you employ more people, and if such innovators multiply, then we have a society that is transformative, not government. But education has...
So you think it is society that should reform our education?
Thank you. Now, educators, we need to help our government, not to sit back, be somewhere...
We're actually waiting for government.
And then to sit back somewhere in ivory towers and wait for government to advise us. When did they become educators? We are supposed to advise government, tell them what is working and what is not working. Like I gave you earlier an example, how we are busy teaching students how to handwrite, knowing that society does not entertain that skill anymore. But we can't tell government. We are busy implementing it. We know that the business of remembering will never solve a problem. We know that robots, AI, chat GPTs and everything are doing that job perfectly better than a human being. There is no internet that is going to suffer from dementia where it can fail to remember.
Because it has grown in age.
Yes, so me, I can, because I'm a human being and I age. I can forget. But technology will not forget. So therefore, we cannot compete with technologies. But there are certain things we are better when it comes to comparing ourselves to technology. Now, going to society, crafting an education curriculum that is best in society, to solve society's problem, that is what we have to advise government, not the other way around.
Muganga, you make these things feel, you make me feel like hopeless.
No, there is always hope. Yes, hopeless in a good way, but hope will come. By the mere fact that we are talking about them, I'm sure someone somewhere is listening.
The leading problem that government is looking at throughout our education levels is the high cost of education. When I asked you a question, I thought your first answer would be the high cost of education. It appears not to be part of your two leading...
No. To me, that is, yes, it is a problem, but it's not. Even if you brought down the cost of education, we will still have an education system that is not addressing the problem society is facing. Okay? Like I have always told you, that to be honest, and I say this with pain, that today's education, not only in Uganda or even elsewhere, is a legal scam. Yes. It's a legal scam. Why? It is, a scam is, if you define a scam, I'll just give you a quick definition, not a dictionary one, is simply when you are convinced, compelled to invest into something, but you know that actually what you're investing in, you don't even know, but eventually there is nothing actually in the first place that you are going to benefit from this investment. Now, how many people... Thank you. How many people have invested in this education, in their education, and have reaped, like they are vesting nothing? You have just been telling me how education is happening, but society is still haunted by problems after problems. So that means the dividends are not there. So we need to change. We just have to be humble and accept that this system, they gave it to us, we inherited it, we nurtured it the way it was. It is not working. For us to be able to overcome this...
So for you, you think the issue to address now is not the cost of education, but the quality of it?
The quality of it. And even, let me even tell you, once you address the issues that are haunting education, cost will go down by itself. Now.
You believe so?
100%, and I'll give you an example.
Actually, it will.
It will, let me tell you. If we now universally accept that we should make equality of opportunity for everyone, the equality of opportunity to become the defining objective of our nation's education strategy. Okay? So everyone, we are a small country compared to the other bigger countries in the world. Maybe some other countries have certain things that they are, we have, God blessed us with nature and things that may even give us an upper hand than some other countries. But there are others that have really driven away from us in terms of advancement. But if we chose to invest in our people through education, then, and only then, we can have a human capital that will drive Uganda and give it a better upper hand compared to other countries. Now, how do you do this? Now, think of a situation where we have all accepted that, that education is a public good.
It is.
It is. It's not a private what? Good. We have made it private because government did not have enough resources to maybe invest in infrastructure to be able to have all these schools that can fit other people, right? Most of the people. But now that they are there, for God's sake, change the way we do assessment. Okay? The way we do assessment, and we should stop standardizing the curriculum. Now, the curriculum, we should stop standardizing the curriculum. We should invest in teacher training and development, 2 things. Now, that means every part of Uganda will now begin to look at their problems, okay, and develop a curriculum that addresses those problems. So the children emerging from those communities, the universities situated in those communities will now begin to address those problems
as their primary goal.
As their primary goal. Now, assessment from primary and lower secondary should not be one that is driven by national exams. For God's sake, let's shelve national exams a little bit.
Muganga?
Yes.
How do we have a standard of quality?
Who tells you that an exam actually is an indicator of quality? It is not. An exam that tests how much I have remembered has nothing to do with quality. Because today I can forget, tomorrow I remember the same thing I forgot.
An exam helps us to know that Muganga can study civil engineering, Muganga can not.
Which civil engineering he cannot use to actually solve the problem Bryce is facing. Because I remembered everything you gave me in a book. So let's go back to an education that is addressing the problems we have in our respective localities, a curriculum that is not as standardized as this one, and let's shelve the national exams from primary to lower secondary, because that's a cost we can do away with. That's a cost we can reinvest in our teachers to make them, remember I talked about teacher training and development, make them better teachers who can now assume the responsibility to carry out continuous assessment, formative assessment at the local level, municipality levels, and everything. The Ministry of Education, if it wants, it can collect all this information and now see how students are progressing as they solve the problems.
In which country is that done?
Sweden, Finland, Canada, US. I can go on and go on. Why is it that those people who gave us this, the so-called education system, which they moved away from it, we are treasuring it, keeping it, like protecting it like a baby. For them, they abandoned and they're not.
But we are told that when Ugandans go abroad, they are fought for. That our education, that when they go, wherever Ugandan student goes in those universities, they become a darling of everyone.
Do you see? Do you realize why that I'm laughing? Get a medical doctor from Uganda. Have them immigrate, go to Canada, and ask them to enter the medical world of Canada. They will never enter just like that.
Doctor?
They will never. If they are not lucky, they will even make them go back to high school. Or they will ask them to do the exam, they will fail. They will take them back into, we call it upgrading in Canada. And then they find their way up again. So that's the education system you're talking about? No, we need to do something.
For real?
100% real. Empower teachers to do continuous assessment, formative assessment, and sometimes summative assessments. Then they are addressing what happens in their very region. So they have a curriculum that looks like their problems. And then you'll have an education system that is solving problems.
In 2 minutes, let me have your view on...
And do you know, just a second, do you know when you do that? That means the grading, why you remove the national grading, is no longer there. Now, parents can no longer buy grades. They can now pay for competencies.
It also means I'm not going for examinations, I'm going to learn.
You're going to learn. So the competition is never there anymore. And now what now matters? UPE will become a school that can be now treasured by everyone. Universal secondary education will become a school treasured by everyone. So the private institutions, and I like investors who are investing in private schools, you are great, we admire you, and we are proud of you. But this time, when that is done, you will not have enough students. They will go away to public schools. Education is a public good, I told you. Because now, I told you the equality of opportunity now will be at that point. So schools will stay, like public schools will have so many people, private schools will have less people, and you reduce now your fees because you don't have people coming your way.
The Vice Chancellor of the Victoria University. We have just 2 minutes, but I want to pick your thoughts on one. The Minister of Education says schools must stop charging parents for school fees for school uniforms. Simply tell us that we want a blue shirt, a brown short, black stockings, and black shoes. Then every parent should find their way, find the uniform in their own way. Let me pick your brief thoughts on that.
Thank you, Simon. But let me tell you, I thank God I've had the opportunity to travel to different countries. And I've interacted with different education systems, I think in 47 countries. Yes, yes, 47 countries. Kakati, when whatever I have seen, a uniform does not contribute to anyone's learning. I have children in the education system where they are in. No one has ever put on a uniform.
Are you sure?
Yes. So now there is a fear that, of course, by having kids wear uniform, you're trying to equalize. They equalize.
They equalize, yes.
Yes, you're trying to equalize. That some people come from richer families, others from...
Yes.
Now, but, okay, let me ask you. A uniform that costs 500,000, honestly, uniform, can't you go downtown and buy your child's normal clothes that are decent?
You get more.
More clothes that are decent. So why do we need uniforms in schools in the first place? I'm Simon. Why do we need uniforms in schools?
No, in 500,000, I would get something.
It's okay to have, but we know we are in need. There is a huge need right now. Money is in scarcity. Why do we need uniforms?
In the last one, I know that we are going a minute past our time.
Yeah. So this is a nice to have, but not a must have.
It doesn't actually change anything about
it. Doesn't.
Okay. We want to say schools are overcharging money for meals. We are now saying let every parent pack meals for their children. Your thought on that?
Again, if this is a loophole where school owners have been abusing that facility, if we can actually, parents, if you have the money to pay to these schools to feed your,
pay.
Just use it, that very money. Buy some lunch. Pack something, a decent meal for your child. You'll even get a chance to create a balanced diet for your child. I understand, for those who are able. But there are others, of course, who are really deprived of that opportunity. But of course...
How do your children feed where they are? I don't want to know the country. How do you feed them? How do everything we eat on at home, they just pick something and pack something and go with it at school. We don't like... the system where my kids go, no one actually... I don't know any school in that country where a school can prepare meals. These are the things we have created here. Yes, like if we can dwell with them, parents can pack these meals, can really provide. If you are able to provide money to buy meals for these kids in schools, that money you can actually use it to provide for something to eat for your child. The hot cup at 9.
One last thing. I am the Vice Chancellor of Victoria University, dear viewers.
So you are.
I am.
So you are.
And a person who is passionate about meaningful education that we provide at Victoria University. I know most of you start Senior 6, the students, and your parents are looking forward to bring you to a university that makes sense. So I am here to work with your parents, to work with you students. Simon said it clearly. I am being accused of taking care of the very, very person that I am actually supposed to take care of. And I don't apologize for that, to take care of a student. That's my job. So I call upon every Ugandan who is willing to pursue further education to come to Victoria University. Let's educate this country. Let's work together. Let's be part of your education journey. And I thank you.
The Hot Cup at 9 ends here with Professor Lawrence Muganga, the Vice Chancellor Victoria University. It's always interesting to pick his off because he's fresh every time you get him. He has different ideas. His ideas may look weird today, they may look strange today, but in the time to come, it's the direction we are taking. Thank you for your time here.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to have you.
I can only do a PhD
with me here.
Because I've done the rest. Now I'm left with a PhD there. Have a wonderful morning. Zesa Simon Muganga retire.
This is Hot Cup at 9.